Hello everybody, it is Kate. Today, I'm talking about another movie. This movie in particular, it is called Labor Pains, and it is with Lindsay Lohan and Bridget Mendler. This movie is insane, and I wanted to talk about it, so let's get right into it. So our main character is Thea, obviously played by Lindsay Lohan, and she has an office job where she works at a publishing company as a secretary, and no one respects her because it's all a bunch of like old men and they act like old white men. Her boss named Jerry is really crazy about certain things, like expects her to take his dog to the vet when in reality she is just his secretary. It's not like a personal assistant. So he also has a little dog, and the dog is the light of Jerry's life, like loves the dog so much. The dog is like licking soap and then gets really sick, and then he blames her and is like, how dare you hurt my dog. And it's like, girl, you are letting the dog free roam an office that is not meant for a dog. And he's like, you're fired for this. But then she's like, you can't fire me. And he's like, why not? And she's like, I'm pregnant. She's not. And he's like, oh. So he quickly talks to like his like people in the office, and they're like, yeah, we can't fire you. Like, this is discrimination. And she's like, got it.
I'm pregnant.
Pregnant? The legal department is backing your story about not being able to fire a pregnant woman, no matter how much she might deserve it.
So then everyone in the office is like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. Also, she has a younger sister, from Bridget Mendler, and the little sister does not know yet. And they have a very hard relationship because their parents died, so she's taking care of her. Since Thea works a lot and is still a young adult, she's not the best caretaker, so there's a lot of stress at home. But Thea's friend Lisa from the office, she's another secretary, is like, girl, we gotta help, because everyone's like, why don't you have a bump yet? Like, you're 4 months pregnant and you don't have a bump. And so she was like, ooh, I better get a bump. So she goes to a maternity store, like a baby clothing store and a maternity store, and steals one of the mannequins a baby bump. The next day at work, they're all like, oh my gosh, you popped. And she's like, yeah, I did. Isn't that so crazy? So no one can say that I didn't do it. They go to a company baseball game, and someone falls on his dog. Someone literally slams down, falls on the dog, and the dog like almost dies. And so he takes her to like this like really expensive medical care facility and forces his brother named Nick to take over the company, and is like, listen, don't change anything, just publish the books that I've told you to publish, and that's it.
Nicky will be holding down the fort.
We're going down.
And I'll be giving him strict instructions not to do anything stupid.
Code red.
I want to publish Susie's book. And while Jerry's gone, I'm going to do it.
And immediately Nick is like, okay, girl. He wants to publish a pregnancy book. And he's like, listen, I'm meeting with her and I'm going to hope that she goes with our publishing company. You got to come with us. I told her you're an editor. You're not. You're a secretary. You're going to come with us and convince her that she should sign with us. So she's like, first of all, not pregnant and not an editor. And shockingly, she does a really good job. Like, she's really nervous because she doesn't want to like lie about not only being an editor but also being pregnant, because she just did it so she wouldn't get fired. It's so crazy. So she like has this like whole monologue about how the author, her name is Susie. She's like a secondary main character. She becomes friends with Thea, and that's kind of it, and is like explaining to Susie why their book fits perfectly with their publishing company, and for some reason they get it. And she does a really good job. Like, she's very good at marketing stuff.
Well, you're embracing the mess, and you've written an incredible, insightful, hilarious, controversial manifesto.
Nick is talking to her and is like, listen, you were amazing. I want to make you like an actual editor. I'm going to make a parents and like family division. Do you want to run that entire division and be like a editor? And she's like, oh, I can't do that, because she's like, I am not a pregnant lady. But then he's like, you'll get an office and a huge pay grade. And she's like, got it, I'll do it, because like she needs a lot of money because she's taking care of her and her younger sibling. So she gets her own office and she's like, this is really nice. And she's like, okay, so I gotta keep this up. And she finally comes clean to her sister because her sister stops by the office, and then she's like, what is that? So then she takes her son, she's like, shut up, I'm doing this so I don't get fired. And her sister's like, yeah, of course, you lie about everything, like you suck. Which like to some degree I get, because it's like you'd be like, okay, like this is insane, but at the other time I'd be like, you're making more money? Okay, girl, I am more than okay with that. But the sister and her have a very bad relationship, so it's not just that easy. So then she talks to her boyfriend and it's like, listen, you have to pretend to be my fiance and baby's dad, because there's like a party coming up and they're like, bring your fiance, because she said they were fiancés, they were just dating. He is the worst person ever. First of all, he's just like a kind of a jerk about it. Like, he's very unserious, unfit, not a good partner. Like, I don't know if you would want to be if your partner lied about being pregnant.
Oh, my bad. I was trying to totally going for her.
Like something right now.
Come on, it's so nice in there. No one cares that you're fat. Come on, what is that?
He pushes her into the pool. And everyone is like, she's pregnant. You can't do that. And at this point, I believe she's like six months pregnant because she got a new baby bump. And she's like getting maternity clothes and baby clothes. So then later on she breaks up with Miles because she never speaks to him again after that. She's like, he was horrible and humiliated me and I needed one favor and he couldn't do it. Breaks up with him but doesn't tell anyone because she's like, I don't need to. And then Nick sees Miles because like Miles has like a food truck nearby, like that you walk to when you get to the office, and he sees Miles with another girl and he punches Miles.
What?
There's another fight that happens later on. Nick is very prone to violence. No, but he punches Miles because he's like, how dare you? You have a pregnant fiance. And then he comes back and he's like, has like a cloth on his nose because they obviously got into a fight. And Thea's like, what happened? And he's like, your fiance was blah blah. And she's like, we broke up. And he's like, oh, got it, cool.
So I punched him.
You what?
I punched him. I couldn't help it. It came over me. You deserve better than that, Thea. A lot better.
Thea keeps the lie going because she's starting to really like it, and her and Nick have started a relationship, and he's like, listen, I really like you. She's like, I really like you. So they kind of start a relationship, and her sister is like, you're going insane. So her sister, in order to get her to like snap her out of believing this, throws her a baby shower with all of their relatives. All of her relatives come from like across this country. So she's like, I need to talk to you. Emma, that is Bridget's character's name. She's like, Emma, I need to talk to you. So her and Emma go into the back, and her best friend Lisa also comes with them because Lisa knows that it's a fake pregnancy. They get into a physical fight because Emma's trying to get her to take off the pregnancy belly, and Thea's like, no, I'm not. So Emma rips it off of her and starts like ripping it up, and Thea's super upset and she's like screaming. And she is mainly upset because she has a dinner tonight, a book reading that is with the new published book, and it's like a reading of it, and it's like a really important day for her and for Nick. She's freaking out, so she runs and grabs a balloon from the party and leaves because she's like, I have to go. So it looks the same. I know it wouldn't in real life, but it doesn't matter. She goes there and it's going fine whenever Jerry comes home early and is like, what is this event? I told you not to do anything. And Nick is like, no, this is really good. And he's like, we're not publishing this book. And he starts reading another book that they were going to publish that sucks. Nick gets into another fight. Girl, please. So they start fighting, and Thea's trying to like push them, but then while they do that, one of them pops a balloon and they're all like,
Oh God!
and she's like, I can explain. No, you can't.
Jerry was gonna fire me, and I couldn't afford to get fired. And I thought the whole thing would blow over in a day or two.
Blow over in a day or two? What kind of person pretends to be pregnant?
So then she is fired, and she's trying to call Nick a bunch because she's like, listen, I'm so sorry. It was way off hand. I only wanted to do it for like a little bit, but it just kept going and going and going. I really like you, blah, 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 blah. And it's really sad because earlier her and Nick were talking, and he was like, yeah, I've always wanted to start a family. So he's not responding to her. She gets fired. She calls Lisa. Lisa's like, yeah, he quit. He resigned. He's done. There is this really important talk show that's happening that Thea wants Susie's book to be published on. So she talks to the talk show host every single day and buys her favorite, or makes her the best desserts that the host likes because she talks about it on her shows a lot. And so then eventually the host is like, hey, is there something you want, after like a few days? And she's like, just read this book. It's amazing. You should talk about it. So she's like, okay, I'll think about it. There was a cancellation in one of the shows. So the next day there was a show, and she's like, okay, I have to get all these pregnant women who have their stories in the books, and Susie and Nick, who is the most important, who jump-started the book being published, on set to talk about it. So she goes up to every single person. She really apologizes, and she goes to Susie, and she's like, listen, because they got really close and they became like really close friends. She's like, listen, I value your friendship, and I didn't want to tell you that it was fake because I didn't want to lose you. And Susie's like, okay, like, you're an asshole, but I love you. And they're making up, and Susie goes into labor.
We're gonna...
Ow! That's amazing. When?
In 2 hours! They had a cancellation.
Yeah. That's not gonna work for me.
So she's going to labor and she's like, what? I can't do this. You have to be the one to talk about it. So they call an ambulance and she goes out to the hospital. And while this is happening, she's like, listen, you have to go and talk about my book. Like, if this is really important. So Thea goes and starts and talks to all the pregnant people. She has her sister help her. Her sister is better about it because they made up quite a bit after they got all the pregnant ladies into the car. And on set, they're ready to talk about it. And then Emma goes to Nick and is like, you have to drive us to the studio right now. There's something really big happening. So she takes her, so they go to the studio and he's not there whenever the show starts. So she has to take the play. So Thea has to go and starts talking about it. And then she's like, she sees Nick in the audience and then she does like the speech where it's like vague enough to be like, maybe it's about the book, but it's clearly about him. And then it's like, Nick, stand up. You were the one who jump-started this. He stands up and he's like talking about where it's like, even when someone messes up and lies and breaks your trust, you can still love and forgive them. And it's like, girl, I know this is not about pregnancy. So clearly not about what the book is here. And it's like, girl, talk about this later. This is about Susie's book.
If you love someone, you can forgive them for all of the crazy and idiotic things they do. Because love is a leap of faith. Sometimes you just have to jump.
Wow. Okay.
They make up, and then after the show ends, it's like, hey, Diva, I still love you. And he's like, I love you too. Then 2 years later, it cuts, and Thea is actually pregnant, and they are working at the same place. She runs the place, Nick and her are married, and she goes into labor, and then they leave. That's literally the end of the movie. This movie was insane. Not only because it's like you can lie about one of the biggest things, like, objectively to happen. That person who you completely lied to is gonna be fine with it. Like, I get that it's because she's, like, the main character and she's doing it because she needs money and she wants to, like, she feels bad about lying, but it's like, girl, you can feel bad about something and still be in the wrong. That was, like, the one thing where I was like, I kind of wish she had a bad ending. Like, you don't want to because Lindsay Lohan is, like, such a good actor and is so charming in her roles that you're like, I love her and she's the main character. I want her to have a good ending, but at the same time, you don't really want them to have a good ending because it's like, you lied about being pregnant for months. You started a relationship under the false pretenses that you were pregnant. And he was like, yeah, I could probably provide for a kid. Like, it never got really deep into that, but it's like, you would assume so. That's really it. Like, comment, and subscribe, because if you don't, the balloon in your tummy is going to burst, and you're not going to get maternity leave. Anyways, bye everyone!